forget to subscribe.
How to not only retain your self-respect, but not only get laid, but also lock in a lot more girls on average. I have noticed with a lot of my students that there's a bit of a pattern with the guys that have the majority of the success out here, and I want to share that with you guys today. But we're in Darling Harbour. You can see the Australian flag. There's the Centrepoint Tower. It's bright and sunny as usual. It's a little bit windy, but this is Darling Harbour. Before we kick it off, I'm Dave, and this channel is dedicated to giving you no BS, novel dating advice for the modern man. Top link in the description. Check out my website and sign up to do some cold approach coaching with myself. Now let's start with self-respect. Does she think that she can get away with saying the most obnoxious things ever, be rude to you, disrespect you, and you're still going to pay for dinner, you're still going to ask her out on a date and try to pursue her no matter how despicable her behavior is? Now, a lot of women out there, if they sense that you are extremely needy, weak, you don't have any boundaries at all, you're just desperate, a lot of women will play up on that and start openly disrespecting you to your face, and still you will take her out for a date, not set any boundaries, not pull her into line. And eventually you'll get to the point, after so much disrespect and so much pursuing of her and her locking you in as a putting you in the friend zone, that eventually you'll then overnight go from 0 to 100, being super friendly and super submissive to her with no boundaries, to becoming angry and take all your anger out on her eventually. When really you should have got ahead of the problem and shown her that you have boundaries and you have self-respect for yourself early on. Also, think about it this way: if you're running around all needy and weak and tolerant of her abuse and her mistreatment and disrespect of you, well, you're training her to do that to other men. And society, if all men behave like I do, we wouldn't have the society that we live in today. Pickup wouldn't even be a thing, because men would be men. Men would have self-respect, but they just don't have it. En masse, they don't have it. And there's a critical mass of men out there that not only don't respect themselves, they don't respect society, they don't respect other men. And because of that, they're so needy, and they see it as if women are the angels of society, when they're not. They're just not. And if you actually believed in equality, then you would actually treat them equally and have some boundaries for yourself and some self-respect for yourself. So now we've kind of established that, the next part of this is, off the cold approach, I have noticed that there's quite a few guys out there that as soon as they get into the approach, they just don't believe that they're worthy of the women. They don't really have self-respect, and they will pursue her regardless of how little interest she's showing with him. They find themselves pursuing her and texting, even if she's not really replying, she's not really showing interest. These are the guys that they ignore all of the signs out there that they're being given. for instance, you know, the girl's a little bit on the fence whether she should turn up to the date or not, and he pushes and pushes and pushes and ignores all of the signs that she's just not really that interested. Now, then he turns up to the date, and he turns up on time, and then he calls her. He's wondering why she doesn't turn up. It's because, well, she gave him so many subtle hints that she wasn't really that interested, and he didn't want to accept it. He just tried to giggle through and push through, and just had no boundaries for himself, no self-respect. Generally, if the girl has, you know, she doesn't really have a lot of interest in you, you should be able to see it early on. And you should give her outs. You know, she should have ample opportunity to leave at any moment. And in reality, you shouldn't really be pursuing a girl that isn't really that keen on you, because all you're doing is setting yourself up for more and more drama, more and more, not only off the cold approach, but when setting up dates and every other aspect of it, every other apart from the cold approach all the way through to dating her. You should always be showing self-respect for yourself and be willing to leave at any moment. But a lot of guys, they and this is not just me just anecdotally throwing out my opinion here. It's now that I'm coaching, I've noticed a difference between the guys that have success in dating, because keep in mind, it is far easier to just sleep with a girl than to lock her in. And there are a lot of guys that are very needy and very weak-minded and very direct and, oh, please date me. Then they end up sleeping with the girl, but she disappears, and they have a lot of trouble locking her in. Whereas there are guys out there that it's almost like you'll notice that, let's just say, because you guys are out in YouTube world, you're not out in the reality of dating. You're watching YouTube infields, and you're looking at guys that are funny and charismatic and well-spoken. And from my experience, a lot of the guys that are funny, well-spoken, and not just well-spoken, but just funny, and they come across a little bit weak and a little bit too playful, they're going to get laid. You know, they're going to get laid with even the most basic of intermediate or beginner game, based on their mate value. It's bright out here, really bright, but they're going to struggle to lock the girl in. They really are. Some of them will lock a girl in, but a lot of them won't. And I have noticed, and this happens over and over and over again, is that I've noticed this pattern just with the students that I've had myself recently, is that a lot of the guys that are kind of boring, serious in the cold approach, James Bond style, and they have self-respect, that doesn't mean that they're seriously boring guys. They're just a little bit more serious. The girl knows that this is a serious interaction and he's not impressed with her. Those guys tend, when they hook a girl, they have a lower hook rate, but they tend to get laid more. And when they do sleep with the girl, they have a lower flake rate. They have a lower rejection rate when they get into, you know, number closing, going out on dates, and they're more likely to lock the girl in because she knows that he has self-respect and he's willing to leave at any moment. Now, again, you guys watching this, you'll think probably out of neediness. You're there listening, okay, well, that's good, so I can leave at any moment. Does that mean that every approach that I get into, I just leave straight away and I just don't get laid ever and I don't have any success? Well, no, it doesn't mean that. Off the cold approach, it means that you just show that you have self-respect. You're less likely to number close a flaky number. You're less likely to get a girl's contact information and pursue a girl that is clearly showing signs that she's not interested in you. And if she's showing that she's not that interested in you, you have enough self-respect to just go, oh, okay, that's cool, next. These guys, if she's disrespectful off the date, they're going to shut down the date early. If she's showing signs that she doesn't want to turn up to the date, they'll give her outs. Oh, look, if you don't want to turn up, don't turn up. I've got other things to do. My time's valuable. And I also noticed that with a lot of guys that reach out to me, they'll fill out the coaching form and they'll want to get on the phone to me, and they won't respect my time. They think that I have all day to just take inquiries all day, and that shows that they don't respect their own time. If they think that I have all day to just get on phone calls and window shop, when clearly, recently I had a guy reach out to me with he's in his 20s, mid-20s, and he's got a lay count of 5, and just kind of disrespected my time and disrespected himself, which is evidence that he just doesn't have any respect for his own time, and will never really get to the point where he's going to make a go of this. And that says more about him than me. It says more about someone in their 20s. They'll get to the 30s, and then their lack of results, their lack of having a proper girlfriend and all that other good stuff, they'll get a real punch in the face where they start to realize, hang on, I'm running out of time here. And I think I kind of went all over the place, but there is a pattern that I'm noticing amongst the guys that are getting most of the success. And if you come across as that guy that when she approaches you, she has, in the back of her mind, she has flashbacks to kindergarten with that guy that was teasing her and bullying her and pulling her hair because you're giggling and you're coming across weak and you've got no boundaries, and then she tests you. Some people call it a shit test. She disrespects you somehow, some way, and you just tolerate that. And then she's like, that's the guy, that's that weak guy that I don't want anything to do with. If you come across like that, then we go down the rabbit hole of the emotional trauma and inner game problems that are connected with that. You get a lot of rejection, then you start getting angry, start getting annoyed at dating in general. I had a guy that literally day one told me that he's going to give it 3 or 4 months and he's going to quit. And he'd done coaching before with another big company, very big famous company. He didn't have that area of his life kind of solved or sorted, or at least in the right direction. And within a couple days, he felt like he had gained so much experience with someone like myself that, well, there is a difference. I spend a lot of time out here executing on proper cold approach, and I have been doing it for a very long time. Only recently started coaching. So there is a difference between myself and a lot of the other guys out there that are coaching. A lot of them are kids. A lot of them don't really know what they're doing. A lot of the big companies are just exactly that. They're big companies. There's not actual gamers there that know what they're doing. So, I've had quite a lot of success lately, and I'm starting to notice a pattern amongst the personalities of guys that have the most success, and the guys that aren't having that success, identifying that early. And you want to set some boundaries. You want to make sure you have self-respect. You don't want to let people disrespect you, especially girls that you're trying to date. That can emotionally hurt you. I call it death by 1,000 cuts. You get a few rejections, it doesn't really hurt, but over time it really does sting, and you want to nip that in the bud early, So anyway, I've kind of gone all over the place. Darling Harbour, great little spot to do some DG, and I'll see you guys in the next video.